This 15-year-old prodigy became the nightmare for top chess players, according to Hikaru Nakamura. We are talking about Sina Movahed. Sina Movahed, a 15-year-old prodigy from Iran, is taking down every single top chess player once a week, including Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, and all of the top players. And in this video, you're going to see how he crushed Magnus Carlsen in a marvelous way in freestyle chess, in Freestyle Friday, 31st of January. And after this win, he became the champion of this tournament. In this game, he played 2 brilliant moves, 5 great moves, 18 best moves with a game rating of 3050. But just watch this game till the end and see what a genius he is. Let's go and find out. In this game, it's a Fischer random chess. So the pieces are put randomly in the first round and in the last round. So players don't have any opening knowledge and they are just going to play on their own. And Sina started the game with the attack. Pawn to c4, attacking this pawn on h7 right away with the queen. Let me tell you something. He's just crazy for attacks. He's just going for attacks no matter who is his opponent. If it's the GOAT of chess, Magnus Carlsen, or anyone else, Sina is just going to attack. Let's see it in this game. This game is a fight for initiative. Magnus Carlsen, seeing this, he just castled. In the first move, he just castled and defended the pawn with his king. Sina goes and take control over the center. Center is important in any kind of chess, including freestyle chess. And Magnus plays c6. And he says, okay, I'm also going to attack you. I'm going to take this pawn on h2. And he was expecting that Sina, like anyone else, will just play knight g3 or rook to h1 and defending this pawn. But not for Sina. Sina is looking for initiative and looking to attack fire, to respond fire with fire. And here, he just plays bishop c2. And he says, Mr. Magnus Carlsen, with all respect, you can take my pawn on h2, but you're going to lose the game if you're going to do so, because after queen takes h2, white has just simple knight to g3, and it's a blunder queen takes h2, because now white has the threat of rook h1 capturing the queen, and if you try to run away with your queen, I will play rook h1, and guess what, it's mate in 1. So Magnus has to defend this and play knight g6, and after rook h1 he's going to lose his queen. And Magnus, of course, will fastly realize this. And at this moment, I'm guessing, I'm doing the mind reading, that Magnus wanted to take the initiative in this game. He didn't want to play knight g6. It's an obvious move in this position. Maybe because of some h4 or some f4 in some positions, just going with f5, or any other kind of reason, he didn't want to play knight to g6, and he played an awkward move, pawn to g6, which chess.com says it's a mistake, or sometimes it even says a blunder. Today it says a mistake. Yesterday when I was analyzing, it was saying it's a blunder. But pawn to g6 allows bishop to h6, and also this knight on h8 looks like a dumb piece. But why Magnus Carlsen played like this? Did he overlooked bishop h6? Sina asked the question, he played bishop to h6, and Magnus immediately took on h2. This is why I think that Magnus saw all of this, and he deliberately sacrificed this exchange, and he thought, okay, my queen on h2 is a good piece, white is not able to castle very time soon, and my bishops can come into the game, like with d5. We can see it in the game. Sina just played knight g3. And he says, okay, Mr. Magnus Carlsen, I'm going to take your queen. And Carlsen plays queen to h4. Queen to h6 was better, and Sina just goes e4. Now he's attacking this pawn on d4. So he first plays e4, controlling the center. Now rook h1 is also coming, but Carlsen plays d5. Of course, it's a 3-minute chess game. It's an online game, and Magnus is not taking it so seriously. He won every single thing in his chess career. And in this game, he wants to just probably have also some fun playing against this guy. And he knows that this guy is very good at attacking. So Magnus wants to take control over the game and not allow him to gain the initiative. By d5, Magnus is trying to open up the lines. And now, as I told you, the king in the center seems a little bit unsafe. But Sina plays queen c1. Maybe c takes d5 was better. But here he decided to sacrifice a pawn and control this diagonal. He wants to play rook h1 and queen h6 and goes for checkmate. He just cares about checkmate. Carlsen says, Okay, come and checkmate me. He takes on c4, rook h1, and he runs away to f6. And the important note is, after queen h6, black is not going to lose this game, and he just have queen g7. And in this position, if white exchange the queens, black has 2 pawns for the exchange, and after this b5, knight to b6, and probably even Magnus can win this game. So if you're up material, you should not just exchange queens. Of course, in this position, white is not even up materials, but white has the attack and he needs to continue the attack. This is why Sina just plays e5 and asks the question to this queen. And the only square that it can go is g7, because if you go somewhere else, then queen h6, checkmate. So you need to go to g7. And in this position, the best move for white is b3. It's very hard to find. It's a very complicated game. And once again, here, Sina shows his style. He just goes for rook e4. It's a mistake by chess.com, but he just wants to checkmate Mr. Magnus Carlsen. By rook h4, he's just coming for checkmate. And in this position, Carlsen made a big mistake. I guess it's the biggest mistake in this game. He played pawn to f5 and allowed rook h4. He should have played e6, preventing this rook from coming to h4. But I guess he was worried about his bishop on c8. It's a very bad piece. This knight can come into the game, but what about the bishop? But the key point here is that black in near future has f5 and can activate this knight, and white most likely has to take on f6, and in future this bishop can also come to the game. So this was the right way for Carlsen, and even in this position, chess.com says it's even better for black. But Magnus just plays f5 and once again gambles in this position, allowing Sina to play rook to h4. And he was just counting, okay, with h5, I'm going to survive this position. Next move, I will probably play e6. And of course, Magnus also saw this knight h5, but he decided that he will not buy this idea, and it's not a very good idea. But Sina, bringing all of his pieces here, his bishop here, it's time for his sacrifice. He just wants to attack, and he just takes on h5. A brilliant sacrifice by Sina. And with this move, black has to take, of course, and now rook takes h5. Threatening rook takes h8. Magnus plays here, and he was probably thinking, okay, what are you going to do? I'm bringing the knight into the game, the bishop to here, and where is your attack? And Sina here shows Magnus Carlsen where is his attack. He just plays pawn to g4. He just tries to open up the lines. These rooks are on this line. Queen is in the attack. This bishop is also in the attack with this g4. Now this bishop is becoming powerful. You cannot take it, because probably queen g5, rook g5, every one of these two moves are going to win. So Magnus plays e6. He also calculated this. And look at this, the time also. They are almost having 1 minute 20 seconds. G takes f5, e takes f5, and now rook to g1. And look at these highways in the king side. And it's very dangerous for Magnus Carlsen. Rook h6 coming, and he needs to defend this position. In this move, he should have played knight to b6. It's a hard move to find, allowing rook h6 and intending to play king f7. It's a very hard idea. Like computer says, of course, I guess it's still losing, but maybe it's counting on the piece activity, and this knight on a1 is not active, but I guess it's still losing. So Magnus decided to defend it with bishop e8. And after rook h6, he just played bishop e8. And now Sina brings the bishop into the attack. He wants to play bishop h5 and finish off the game. And if the bishop comes to h5, there is no defense. Magnus closes this diagonal between the queen and the rook. Now bishop h5 is not possible because the rook is hanging. And Magnus is probably calculating that if it plays queen takes c4, I will play bishop f7 with a tempo, and in the next move I can take on h6. But look what Sina played here. He plays another brilliant sacrifice, and he just takes on g6. Takes on g6, Magnus takes back, and now queen takes c4, check. And in this position, black is lost. First thing, you cannot go into this line because there is rook h1, and you need to give up your queen. It's not possible. You cannot play bishop f7 because the queen is hanging. If you play rook f7, there is e6. It's coming with tempo. White is threatening e7, so you need to play rook e7. And now bishop to c2, using this pin, and white is just going to win the game. So Magnus, seeing all this, he just played queen to f7. He was okay, thinking that okay, maybe here I will exchange, but Sina plays a stronger move. He played pawn to e6. Both of them is very good. Now both e7 and rook takes g6 are threats. Magnus played queen f5, but now e7 check, and now taking the rook with check. And in this position, he's up material, and he decided to exchange the queens. Magnus moved the bishop, queen takes f5. And even in this position, white has 22 seconds, black has 27 seconds, so he needs to be careful and he needs to play precisely. He plays bishop to c2, offering exchange, and he brings the king. He plays with his king. He doesn't afraid that, okay, my king might get checks or was something like this. He just takes the pawn. Now white has a passed pawn here. Bishop to f5, exchanging these bishops, and white is up an exchange. It's a very, very easy win for white. King to g4. The only problem is the time. He plays f5, bringing the knight, and now Carlsen took a pawn, but the rook comes to e6. He's very good in low time pressures. He doesn't make so many mistakes. And now after king takes g5, Magnus Carlsen resigned the game. If here, okay, just king here is going to win, and if you take here, check, and after f6, king g6, rook c8, it's just a checkmate. And Sina won this game, and he won this Freestyle Friday also in this tournament. We are expecting to hear from him very soon. He's probably one of the favorites in the next 10 years to become chess champions. Of course, it's a long way, but I can see from his games, he's not just winning based on luck or based on his opponent mistakes. He's good at any kind of chess. His classical rating is still not reached even 2600 because he doesn't have so much opportunities to play in big events. I hope that he can have this opportunity and we can hear from him more. I will be glad to hear from you. Write down your thoughts in the comments, and if you like the video, please like it. It will help me a lot.